Have you ever wondered why some people seem to climb the financial ladder with ease, while others stay stuck, paycheck to paycheck, no matter how hard they work? What if I told you the difference isn't just income or luck, it's awareness? Specifically, the awareness to avoid the financial traps disguised as smart decisions. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Many of the things society celebrates as signs of success, luxury cars, flashy vacations, designer labels, fancy properties, are actually financial landmines that silently sabotage your wealth. The ultra-rich have learned to spot these traps a mile away. In fact, they avoid certain purchases so consistently you could write a rule book just based on what they refuse to buy. And today, that's exactly what we're doing. I'm going to reveal 6 assets that are sold as smart investments. But the rich know better. These are not just bad purchases. They are disguised liabilities that lock you into a lifetime of paying for things that never pay you back. Pay close attention to the last one, because it's the one that most people are proud of. But the rich treat like financial poison. Let's expose the lies and start with one of the most seductive illusions of all, the fantasy of owning a piece of paradise. 1. Timeshares, the dream that becomes a financial trap. It all starts with a vacation pitch that feels too good to be true. Own a piece of paradise, they say. It's an investment in your happiness. They show you sunsets over the ocean, smiling families, unlimited leisure. But behind the glamour lies a brutal reality. Timeshares are not investments. They are engineered liabilities. The average upfront cost of a timeshare in the US is over $22,000, but that's just the beginning. You're also locked into annual maintenance fees that start around $1,000 and often climb above $2,500 over time, regardless of whether you use the property or not. Add in exchange fees, booking restrictions, and blackout dates, and the illusion of freedom quickly becomes a schedule of headaches and bills. And when reality sets in, you try to sell. That's when most owners discover the harsh truth. The resale market is a graveyard. There are entire websites full of desperate owners offering their timeshares for $1 or even free, just to escape the ongoing financial drain. Robert from Arizona spent $28,000 on his timeshare, only to find out 5 years later that it was virtually worthless. No buyers, no offers, just more bills. Wealthy people don't fall for this. Why? Because they understand that ownership without flexibility is not power, it's prison. The truly rich value freedom, the freedom to travel anywhere, anytime, without being financially chained to one location. They simply book short-term stays through Airbnb, VRBO, or luxury resorts, choosing destinations on their terms, not a contract's. The math doesn't lie. Let's say you spend $25,000 on a timeshare and pay $1,500 in annual fees for 10 years. That's a $40,000 total cost. If you'd invested that amount into an index fund like VOO or VTI with an average annual return of 8%, you'd have over $85,000 after a decade. That's not just one vacation, that's the kind of freedom that pays you for life. If you already own a timeshare and feel trapped, there are specialized exit services, but many charge steep fees. Prevention, as always, is cheaper than escape. The next time someone tries to sell you a piece of paradise, ask yourself, do I want to own a dream or fund someone else's reality with my hard-earned money? 2. Whole life insurance. The silent killer, sold as a smart move. It's an investment and protection all in one. That's the pitch, and it sounds brilliant. What could be smarter than combining life insurance with long-term financial growth? But here's what they don't tell you. Whole life insurance is one of the slowest, most expensive and least effective ways to build wealth. Let's break it down. For $500,000 of coverage, a healthy 40-year-old could pay around $400 a year for a 20-year term policy. or nearly $4,000 a year for a whole life policy. That's 10 times more every year for the same death benefit. And here's the catch. In the early years, most of that money goes to commissions and fees, not to building cash value. James from Colorado found this out the hard way. After paying over $30,000 in premiums across 8 years, his policy's cash value was barely $22,000. When he tried to cash out, his agent told him it would take another decade just to break even. Meanwhile, that same $30,000 invested in a basic S&P 500 index fund could have grown to over $55,000 in the same time, and with zero restrictions on how to use the money. Here's what the wealthy do differently. They separate insurance and investing completely. They buy term life to cover what really matters, the years when they have dependents, a mortgage, or other responsibilities. It's cheap, efficient, and easy to drop when it's no longer needed. Then they take the thousands they save annually and invest it in tax-advantaged accounts like a 401k, Roth IRA, or diversified ETF portfolio. The truth is, whole life insurance benefits the agent more than the policyholder. Commissions can be 80% to 100% of the first year's premium. No wonder it's pushed so hard. And the worst part? People buy these policies believing they're being smart and responsible, not realizing they've locked their money into an underperforming vehicle for decades. If you already have a whole life policy, don't panic, but do act. You may be able to surrender the policy, take a loan, or do a 1035 exchange into something more efficient. Just don't make that decision without a fee-only financial planner. Not someone who earns a commission based on your confusion, because once you understand what your money is really doing, it becomes obvious. Whole life is not wealth protection. It's wealth restriction. 3. Pre-construction properties in oversupplied markets. The mirage of smart real estate. Buying real estate before it's even built sounds like a savvy move, right? You're getting in early at below-market pricing. You're told it's an exclusive deal, a no-brainer. But in reality, pre-construction in oversupplied markets is one of the most dangerous wealth traps the rich avoid without hesitation. Here's how it usually goes. You buy a unit in a gleaming new development in a booming city, maybe Miami, Las Vegas, or downtown Toronto. You put down your deposit, you're excited, but then delays. Cost overruns. Suddenly the market cools. You're locked into a deal for a property that may be worth less upon completion than what you agreed to pay. Even worse, the market is flooded. Thousands of units, same floor plan, same square footage, same view. That means lower rental yields, downward price pressure, and higher vacancy rates. Emily from Chicago bought a condo in a pre-construction tower, only to find 300 identical listings when she tried to rent it out. Her mortgage payment, $12,400. Market rent, $119.50. Every month, she lost money. Wealthy investors don't fall for brochures and sales hype. They don't chase promises of future value. They verify fundamentals. What's the rental demand? What's the real resale market? Is there infrastructure growth? Is supply outpacing population? If those answers aren't crystal clear, they walk away. Because for them, real estate is a business, not a bet. And here's the part no developer wants you to know. They win either way. Whether the unit goes up or down in value, they've locked in your deposit and shifted the market risk to you. You're the one paying interest, insurance, taxes on something that may not even be built yet. That's not investment, that's speculation on credit. The smarter move: buy existing properties in areas with real demand, positive cash flow, and low inventory. Focus on ROI, not emotion. And if you're new to real estate, remember, buying what hasn't been built yet doesn't make you early, it makes you exposed. 4. Luxury cars as status, not utility. The most expensive ego trip. There's nothing like the smell of a brand new luxury car. The leather, The logo, the looks at the traffic light, it's the ultimate status symbol, or so we've been sold. But what if I told you that for the rich, a flashy new car is not a reward, it's a red flag? Here's the harsh truth. The moment you drive that $90,000 BMW or Range Rover off the lot, it loses 15% of its value instantly. Within 5 years, it will have depreciated by over 60%. That same car could be worth less than $35,000 while you're still making payments based on its original price, plus interest. You're literally watching your money evaporate on wheels. And here's where it gets worse. Most people don't pay cash for these cars. They lease or finance for 6, sometimes 7 years. That means they're paying $200 a month or more for something that loses value every time it's used. Mike from Dallas financed a $100,000 Mercedes over 72 months. After 4 years, he still owed $42,000 on a car worth $28,000. The math was brutal. The damage? Worse. Wealthy people know this game. They don't buy cars to impress strangers. They buy them to move from point A to point B reliably and efficiently. Warren Buffett famously drove a used Cadillac for years. Jeff Bezos was once spotted in a Honda Accord. Why? Because they understand that real wealth doesn't need a parade. Every dollar not spent on a depreciating asset can be invested into appreciating ones. Stocks, real estate, business equity, freedom. If you absolutely need a car, the smart move is this. Buy a reliable 2 to 3-year-old model with low mileage. Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, brands known for durability. Skip the showroom markup. Skip the instant depreciation. That $30,000 saved? Invested in the S&P 500, it could become $140,000 in 20 years. That's not just a car choice, it's a future choice. So before you sign that luxury lease, ask yourself, are you buying transportation or trying to rent approval? Because nothing burns wealth faster than spending money just to look like you have it. 5. Designer goods as investments. Fashion fades, wealth endures. We've all heard it, that Chanel bag will go up in value. This Rolex is an investment piece. The idea that luxury fashion is a financial asset has gone mainstream. But here's what the rich know that most people don't. The majority of designer goods are not investments. They're just expensive accessories with clever marketing. Yes, there are rare exceptions. A first edition Hermès Birkin, a vintage Patek Philippe. These items can appreciate over time. But for every watch or handbag that gains value, there are thousands that don't. Instead, they sit on shelves, collecting dust while silently bleeding away thousands of dollars in resale value. Sarah from New York bought a $3,000 Gucci bag she was told was collectible. 2 years later, she tried selling it and was offered $700. Meanwhile, she had carried a balance on her credit card to buy it, racking up $450 in interest. Total cost? Over $3,500 for a bag she wore 5 times. Truly wealthy people don't treat fashion like financial strategy. They enjoy quality, sure, but they follow a simple rule. Buy assets first, luxuries second. If it doesn't generate cash flow, protect capital, or increase in value over time, it comes after the portfolio, not before. That's why the richest people in the world often dress surprisingly simple. Think Mark Zuckerberg's T-shirts, Steve Jobs' black mock necks, low flash, high focus. And here's the kicker. If you love designer items, you don't have to give them up. You just need to be smarter about how you buy. Use resale platforms like The Real Real, Vestiaire Collective, or StockX to find authentic pieces for 40–70% less. Or try rental services like Rent the Runway if you only need something for a specific event. You'll get the look without the long-term cost. So before swiping your card for that investment piece, ask yourself, will this grow my wealth or shrink it? because no amount of stitching or branding can turn a depreciating purchase into a wealth-building decision. 6. Investment clubs without clarity, where hype replaces strategy. There's something appealing about joining an investment club. A group of motivated people, shared goals, collective knowledge. It feels empowering, even sophisticated. But what many don't realize is that when there's no structure, strategy, or accountability, investment clubs can become wealth destruction machines in disguise. It often starts with excitement. Someone says, "Let's pool money and invest together." There's a buzz. Everyone throws in a few $1,000s. But what's the plan? Who's managing risk? What's the timeline? How are decisions made? Without clear answers, these clubs become groupthink echo chambers, chasing trends, jumping into speculative assets, and reacting emotionally instead of logically. Take Brandon from Atlanta. He joined an investment group that was buying the dip in crypto, NFTs, and meme stocks. They had no written plan, no risk cap, no financial background. After 18 months, his initial $7,000 was worth less than $900. And when he tried to exit, the group had no clear policy for liquidation or return. It was chaos wrapped in enthusiasm. The wealthy don't play that way. They may collaborate with others, sure, but they do it with structure. Partnerships are legal entities. Decisions are based on data, not hype. They hire analysts, consult advisors, build models. If they join a group, it's often to access exclusive deal flow, not to vote on Reddit pics over coffee. Here's the hard truth. Good intentions don't protect your money. Systems do. Before joining any club, ask, is there a written strategy? Risk management protocols? Legal framework? Reporting structure? If not, your capital isn't being invested. It's being tossed into the crowd and hoped for the best. And if you're looking for community without the risk, there are smarter paths. Join an investment mastermind, take a certified course, or work with a fiduciary who educates while guiding. Don't confuse energy with expertise. Because in finance, the cost of following the wrong crowd isn't just lost money, it's lost time, momentum, and confidence. Texto Padra. Most people think building wealth is about making more money. But here's the secret the rich understand. Long-term wealth is often built through subtraction, by removing the things that silently drain your future. You've just uncovered 6 assets that are commonly sold as smart and elite or sophisticated, but are, in truth, disguised liabilities. Timeshares, whole life insurance, luxury cars, overhyped properties, designer goods, unstructured clubs. Each one promises status, security, or success, and each one quietly reroutes your money away from freedom and into someone else's pocket. The wealthy don't avoid these things because they can't afford them. They avoid them because they can do math, because they understand that every dollar spent on a depreciating or underperforming asset is a dollar not growing, not compounding, not buying back your time. So let me ask you, which of these traps were you closest to falling into? Be honest. Drop a comment below, dodged it if you saw it coming, or guilty if one of them got you. I read every single one, and your story might help someone else make a smarter choice. And remember this, while most people are busy chasing the appearance of wealth, you're now armed with the truth to build the real thing, quietly, strategically, relentlessly. Your future self is watching, and will thank you for the assets you refused to buy.